First, hi everyone. I know that we are a serious conference, but I wanted to talk about legacy code and a little bit about Symfony. I might have lied about the name, but we'll see that later. So first, I wanted to introduce myself if you don't know me. My name is Guillaume Loulier. You can call me William. That's way easier for everyone. You can find me on Twitter, X, whatever, GitHub. And you can also find me on Substack. I publish a weekly newsletter with some useful links. I'm a lead developer at SensioLabs. We mostly work with legacy application, migration application between Symfony application. Now we work with Sylus. We have some trainers, so feel free to contact us. I work mainly with PHP and Rust. I really like Rust because it integrates perfectly with PHP. It's really great. And last thing but not last, I like to break things, especially legacy one. That's pretty fun. And you learn a lot by breaking legacy one. To ease the following of the speak, I've split the talk on 4 parts. First, it's about the legacy code and why it should be fun. It's not always the case. Second part is about migrating it. The third one will be about Symfony and how we can help us. And the last one will be about wrapping it and see where we can go from here and how we can improve it. So, first one, legacy code is fun, at least it should. Who already faced the situation when you need to migrate legacy code and you lost the skill or where the file is? Anything? Yeah, okay. We all do. So the main issue is about refactoring and the way that we make it evolve the project. I really like this quote from Jason Gorman that say that the process of taking a well-designed piece of code and through a series of small and reversible changes, making it completely unmaintainable by anyone except yourself. That's probably 100% of the case of your project. You had a new class, you had a new interface, and nobody knows why except you. I mean, probably, even with tests. The small issue is that when you're refactoring an application, you lose the competence, you lose the skill, and if a new developer is introduced into the team, he doesn't know where to go and where to start, so that's an issue, and mainly with PHP application. So, sorry to bother you, but legacy code is just an abandoned one that generates revenues. We were talking about this yesterday, but legacy code is what generates revenues for your project, team, company, and you should treat it well because it's in production, it runs, and you should be easy with it. Maintaining it should be easy, at least in 90%, probably 95% of the case, at least until it breaks. When it breaks, you probably don't have tests or you don't have any CI/CD process. And I don't talk about the production phase. You probably don't have a tool or any process when you fail. And we probably all face this situation, but when you need to migrate a PHP 5 code to PHP 8, that's probably one of the hardest tasks now, even if we have some tools like Rector or others, but that's a hard part. This slide is pretty important because I'm not a big fan of the word, or I mean the sentence of technical debt, because to have a debt you need to borrow something, and when we create code or when we write code, we don't borrow a lot of things except energy, but that's another topic. And sorry to say that the code you wrote yesterday is already outdated. You probably didn't write any tests. You probably didn't introduce any best practices. And that's already a debt by using technical debt. And the hardest part is when you need to migrate it, that's even harder because you don't have tests, you don't know where it is, and you don't know where it's used. So that's the boring part. So how can we solve this issue and what are we dreaming about? We all made the dream of migrating something and it should be easy. At least that's what we ask for. The main wish list that we can have for legacy code is tracking things, because when you have a class and you migrate it into a new one, you need to know where it is, because you probably have a new developer in the team, is writing a new class, probably adding any unit test, but it doesn't know that the old one is here. Same for interface. You add a new interface, you probably use attributes. If you're in Symfony or Sylus, you can use attributes, but you don't know why. You make an extends on countable or stringable, I don't know, and you don't know why. It's just here. Same for types. Since PHP 7.2, I think, you have types, and in 8, we have a way better system about types. We don't have any generics. That's bad, but maybe one day. But it's even harder because you probably have some legacy method that doesn't have any types, and in the new one you add types, and you don't know why. And last part is the situation when you can have probably monolith application or microservices. Who's using microservices? Okay. That's a tricky situation because you can have code that is spread around a lot of repositories, probably GitHub, GitLab, or anything else. And it's pretty hard to track when you add new class, new interface, new method. And it's even harder when you add some new tools. Let's say you add PHP CS Fixer on a new one. It's even harder to track the changes. So yeah, it's not an easy case. So you can have some solutions. The code that I put here is code put from a colleague of mine that we use in Symfony. It's about tracking the deprecations, mostly in production, because we don't track deprecation in dev. That's another subject. So you can use channels, you can use trigger error. That's what Symfony is doing. When you release a new version of Symfony and there is a deprecation, you can see trigger error in the code. Before the major, because the major removes the deprecations. You can use Sentry, OpenTelemetry, and way more. There is a lot of tools that can track the code that you add into a new application and launch a lot of things against it. And it's even harder when you're using a special architecture, things like clean architecture, DDD, etc. It adds a lot of complexity into your application, and it's even harder to track the class, track the interface. You can see in Sylius a lot of interface, a lot of abstract class. And it's really even hard to find the new one, track the old one, and found where it's been migrated. So, Symfony, because that's the main topic of the talk. Well, it's pretty hard because for now, Symfony does not provide a lot of tools to help us migrating code, because Symfony, it's a framework, and it's not a tool. But we have a lot of components that can help us. You can think of Rector, PHP Stan, or even Psalm that use a lot of components of Symfony, especially the commands, the finder, probably the dependency injection container. And the goal behind all these tools is to track and switch off files. So you can in Rector, I think there is an extension, or I think it's PHP Stan. You can now track the classes that is not used. So if you have the new class and it's not used or injected or used in an argument type or constructor, you can switch this class. But it's not perfect. So how can we solve this issue? So time for a new tool. I know that's pretty boring, but the goal here is to take the best part of Symfony, the components, all the developer experience, and a lot of things that we can learn from it, and build a new tool that can really track the application that you're migrating from and the application that you're migrating to. It's built on top of Symfony components, not a lot of components, and especially the PHP parser from Nikita, really great libraries. It uses the attributes. So who's not using attributes in Sylus? Or okay. So the goal behind this tool is to analyze your project, check the file, switch off the file, the method, the interface, the tray, property, etc., and repeat. So the goal is to remove the technical debt, remove all the code that you've migrated and that you don't use anymore, and it could be used in CLI, in continuous integrations. And as the previous talk said, you can use in Castor, because it's just a PHP application. And it's really great to migrate projects and keep a track of what you migrate. So, time for a demo, live demo. This one, I hope it works. So, switch off. So, switch off is a PHP project. It's built really around PHP. So this one is the code used to develop it. And let's say that we have a project, service legacy, so this one, which is the legacy application project, depends on the name that you want to use. And let's say we have some function. It's really basic code. It's just for the presentation. It's not production code. But you have probably in your application some code like that. So with constant, method, no types, probably no exception handling, and it's pretty hard to migrate it. So let's say you have this one, which is the migration of the old one with function, types, attributes. Use PHP 8, so you can use attributes, function call, return type, a lot of things. You have the same things for the class. So here we have the class that we migrated. Any property, the function, the constructor. We have some method with the return type. So I don't have anyone with argument types. That's not an issue. You can have interface in the same way. And let's say we want to track the class and the interface that you've migrated from the old one into the new one. So switch off will be based around a configuration file. You can probably find a similarity with Rector or a lot of PHP projects. So the goal here will be to define a source project, which is the old one, the one that you want to migrate. You will define a name, a path, a PHP version. The PHP version is the one supported by PHP parser. You will define 1 to X targets. So you can have a lot of projects that will migrate the code. So let's say you have a microservices or you have a monolith application with a lot of directories into the SRC1 or etc. You can define. Then we have a new method called define allowed attributes that will define what we want to migrate and what will we allow to migrate. So let's say we only want to migrate the class for now or just the interface. We will define the attribute supported, and we will add the project, and that's pretty much it. So you have the source project, any target project, and you only need to run the tools against it. So here I will just launch the tool. So this is probably a little bit, no? I hope it's not too small. No. Should be better. So you have this tool with a new command. This is called analyze project, and you will pass the configure. So maybe a little bit small. Better. Okay, so you have a new command, analyze project. You will pass the configuration file that you've defined. You will launch it, and it will analyze the configuration file. So we use OK. I have the PHP version in the source one. You have multiple PHP versions. You can have a project on PHP 5 that you've migrated. That's not an issue. We've done the analysis, and we will find some project in the source one and some target project files that we will analyze and find the triggers. That's the attribute that we defined earlier. Then we will have a second command. This one is a little bit here. So this one is about checking the dependencies. So you will give the name of the source project and use a small option. So if you don't choose the small options here, that's the same output. You will just repeat the output to say, okay, we've found some files. We found some classes, function, interfaces, tray. So we know that we found the project that we've migrated. And we can use some options. sure. Should be better. Okay. So here, the goal behind this option is to display the details of what you've migrated. So let's say we've migrated the function foo, which is a file. We have in this file a function called foo. We will switch off this function, so it uses the attributes, so we can migrate it. It will define the function switched. So let's say we need to rename the function into foo, but it is the bar one. We will define the file from where the function can be found, and we will define if we have some callers or callees. So this is the function call or the name of the function that use this one. You have the same thing for the classes. So let's say we want to migrate the legacy foo class. It is located into the legacy foo class.php. We don't have any parents. We have an interface that is used. And we will migrate it into the migration foo class.php with the same class, and it will switch off. So you can have a track of everything that you're migrating. Same for the interfaces here. So the logic is the same. You can have the parents. So let's say you have an interface that uses countable. You don't know why, but it's here. You can track it. And same for the tray. That's important because often when we migrate tray, we say, oh, okay, this tray is used by this class, but I don't know why. And you need to track the tray. So let's say I want to have the details of a class. You can switch a class, track it, and you want to have the detail of it. So I will use an option here. So with this new option here called show details, we will have a new question here, and we can enter the name of a class, a function, property, method, everything that you've migrated. So let's say I want to add the detail of the migration. No. To have the detail of the migration foo class. I've migrated this class, so this is a new one. I can know which class is migrated by this one, the file name used, the interface, the tray, the constant, the properties, any methods. You can also have the detail of the methods, so you can see if there are any argument types, return types, etc. You can have the number of func call, so if you have any function call from a class, a property, etc., you can use it. So that's pretty handy, and you can track the project and say, okay, this class is located here from now with this method, this property, this constant, and you can track what you're migrating. Sadly, there is no third command for now. There is not the switch off command because, well, the project is a work in progress, and we need to add some tests, some functional ones. So this is just a command here. But the third one will be about saying, okay, I need to migrate this class. I have migrated all the function call, all the constant, all the properties, and I need to switch off to remove the file, remove the class. So is there any callers, any function call, any dependencies? And you can, when you've finished migrating, just remove the file, remove the class, or remove the function, the property, etc. And it's just triggering an error if there is any callers or etc., etc. So that's pretty much it for the demo. It works. So I will just here, yeah. Up. Okay, great. So you can ask what's next for this. Migrating code, is hard, not to say boring. We don't like to migrating code. We don't like to rewrite it. There is a lot of technical depth, a lot of issues. We have the situation in Symfony, but you probably faced it in Sylius. You're writing a new class, you're writing an extension, you're writing compiler path, and you don't know where the new one is. Symfony could hear the process, but it doesn't provide the tools. We often use things like Rector, PHP Stan, because Symfony doesn't have any built-in tool to do it. Relying on the framework is a recipe for failure, because the framework is not here for that. You cannot say, okay, but Symfony is not providing any tool to migrating something. So don't trust the framework, just use built-in tools for it. And again, each project has its own rules and flaws. So you can migrate a serious project probably easily, because you know the architecture, you know the dependencies, you know the tool that you have, probably the stack, you master the stack. But let's say you have a new developer in the team, he probably doesn't know how it works and why this class is here and not there. So yeah, let's build a tool that can track it and is the process. Last one, regarding switch off, for now it's not fully stable because it's not finished. The third command is not finished. There is a lot of unit tests that need to be added, especially against the PHP parser, because the library is pretty huge. It can be hard to test. There is some work on the Symfony bundle that you can use in Sylius if you need it. There is already a branch locally with a Symfony bundle. I want to work on the HTML dashboard like infection. Who's using infection in project? Okay. So you have an HTML dashboard if you want. You can output the mutation, etc. in HTML. So the goal here is to build a dashboard that can display the dependencies and the function with probably a core graph. It's not really hard to build, but I need to do it. And last one, probably working on a bridge with PHP Stan or Rector. This way you can launch PHP Stan, then you can launch switch off and keep the types, the tracks, the dependencies, etc. Same for Rector, because now Rector can remove code, improve methods. So let's say you remove a method that was migrated, you can do it. And that's pretty much it. That's all for now. So the tool is really in alpha. It's not even public for now. It will probably be by the end of the month if I have some time to do it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you. Any questions? Sorry, the delay. Okay. Yeah.
What benefits will this tool bring to developers that use advanced IDEs like PHP Storm that are aware of all the container configuration and stuff like that?
Let's say you don't use PHP Storm. No. PHP Storm is great to track class and track usage of class interface method. But the thing is, a lot of time we don't have all the project into one PHP Storm. So you can have, let's say you have a project that is split into 3 or maybe 4 repositories. So you can have the project in local, and you have a library located in GitLab that you only download when you need it. You can't track the dependencies, the core, etc., etc. With switch off, we will have a GitLab or GitHub wrapper that can call the file system from GitLab and say, okay, so this class is used there with this method, this property, so you can switch off or not and just keep track of the class. PHP Storm can, probably with the GitLab extension, you can probably modify it and track the file system, but it's not built in, so you need to find a way to do it. And with this one, it will be built in, so it is the process.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay, that's all for me. Thanks.